All Things Grace podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Majors. I am so super excited to have this guest today because as many times I had to just do a retake, honey. This is the best guest to have because you got Grace. You can roll with any situation. So today's title of our show is The Inevitable Victory, Navigating Success Through Unwavering Vision. So we are talking with Latrice Gattison, founder of Visionaire Academy LLC. Visionaire Academy is a renowned global business consulting and training firm dedicated to propelling corporations, federal governments, CEOs, top-level executives, and leaders towards unprecedented growth and resounding success in their businesses. And Latrice was with me in where I just was last week, 10KSB, 10,000 Small Businesses. And one of the reasons why I asked her to come today was because when she did her presentation, honey, listen, she had logos of businesses, top Fortune 500 doesn't even have yet. But it's all about, and today's show is all about having that unstoppable determination, which leads to the inevitable victory. Okay, so I am so super glad to have you here, Latrice. Welcome. And my first question is, have you always been this way?
Thank you. In all honesty, yes. I've been this way since a little girl. In my other life, in my younger days, I used to manifest whatever I wanted, whether it's finances, relationships, cars, job. I normally used to manifest everything. And y'all are gonna have to forgive me, honey. I'm a whole toddler mom out here doing this. It's one of those evenings. But I normally would literally I would say I want it. If I say I want it, I'm gonna have it, just like this toddler that's running through this house. You know, let's just put it out there. It is what it is. Uh-huh. Normally, I literally would just be like, it's going to happen, you know, with her. I'm a preemie mom. And so being a preemie mom, when others are always like, it's not going to happen, no matter how determined you are, it doesn't make sense. The doctors are saying this, the reports are saying that, meaning the statistics that are normally documented, you know, by birth rates. So case in example, 26 weeks, 5 days. She's here, as you guys hear in the background, even though I put her in a whole nother room. She's here and she's fine. There's nothing wrong. And so I think one thing that people fail to realize is when you're manifesting something, it's speaking it into existence no matter what it is. Mm-hmm. And so back to your question at hand, when did I start this? I started this as a little girl. If I saw a pair of shoes I wanted, I'm going to get those shoes. I don't know how I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them. Mm-hmm. If it was a guy I seen, you know, the top of the football team, or I'm talking about a fine looking guy, like I'm gonna get that guy. And I would tell my friends, like, this is gonna happen. I don't care what nobody say. It's gonna happen. And as you know, sometimes we have our own biases against ourselves, or, you know, judgment from others, and they're gonna think it's not gonna happen. You're the dark skinned girl, it's not gonna happen. Mm-hmm. And I would always get whoever I want to this day. And so now going into business is totally different, to where I'm literally, whatever I put my mind to strategically is what I end up receiving.
Do you find that easy at this point? I mean, is it just a given? And you're now leader of an organization. Do you have all your team members now vibing on that same frequency?
Oh, here we go with honesty and transparency. So at times, your team is not going to vibe on the same frequency. Everybody has different beliefs. Just like when we were in our class, right? For Goldman Sachs, we had some individuals that were like, I'm not going to do these vision boards. No matter what it takes, I'm not going to do them. It doesn't make any sense. Now, I understood both sides. But for somebody that has done vision boards and that has manifested everything on my board, for the most part, I've come to realize that it has to be done. You have to write the vision. You have to see it, no matter how much work you have to put into it. It comes to a point where you just have to know that it's going to be done. Now with my team, sometimes I do have my moments. Give me a second. I'm so sorry, you guys. Like I said, I'm a whole mama out here in these streets. Y'all gonna have to forgive me. So you gotta be careful what you manifest. Let me say that. You gotta be careful what you manifest. I'm just real about it. So y'all forgive me. I know most people are like, podcast, why did you put yourself to the side? And I did. Sometimes the things that we pray for, that we manifest, that we ask for, there are gonna be those distractions. There are gonna be disruptions. Yeah. Now back to your major question that you asked me was my team. Does my team fully manifest or see the manifestation that I'm doing all the time? And the answer to your question is no. Sometimes people think I'm crazy. Sometimes people think I've literally lost my mind because of the numbers that I might put on the board, because of the type of the contract that I've made placed on there. Because, case an example, last year, in which I haven't fully told this story yet, but I opted to sell my house in order to go into a full execution of business. And in doing so, right. And in doing this process, and I'm actually taking myself to a whole nother room. And in doing this process, I've had to realize that people they're not gonna look at where you're going. Okay? They're not gonna look at where you're going. What they're gonna look at is the mistake that you're gonna make. Why does this person want to sell their property? Okay? Why do they see a bigger vision than the norm? Do they think that somebody is actually going to do business with them? Are they sure that someone is going to receive their services? And so with me, I began to pray, I began to fast. And during this manifestation process, I heard God just tell me, sell your house. And so everybody thought I was crazy. Everybody, Michelle, they thought I was crazy. And I remember sitting there just crying like, my house is paid for. Like, you really want me to sell my house? As you see, you hit a noise, like I'm in an apartment temporarily. That's why it's lack of space here temporarily, because I've had to squeeze into a smaller space because I'm trusting the process of what I envision and what I saw that can create opportunities for others. And so back to the team, no, I've had team of family. I've had team members of friends. I've had people that I don't know. Some people will finesse you just to get an opportunity. So they'll tell you, oh, I believe the vision. I believe the plan. I know you can get it done. That's not how it works. And then you have family members, they're there, they're doing the work. But then it's like, sometimes people are watching the money instead of watching the vision itself. When you're watching the vision, and it's crazy to say it, you're not even watching the money. You're not watching the bank account, because here's the thing. If you have the right team, hear me clearly. If you have the right team during a manifestation process and everybody is in full tune, and I'm not meaning they're just speaking it, saying, we believe you, we believe in you, we know you can get this done, just tell me what to do. They have to be able to hone in, even though they don't see the bigger vision. They have to be able to hone in and pull in on that manifestation as well, so that it can move quicker. Because if not, what happens is you'll get stagnant during that process. And that stagnation that you'll receive will postpone the process of you going into your destiny. I hope that made sense to you.
Absolutely. So this is a whole other kind of conversation, but we're going to kind of go into it anyway. And that is that saying, you show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you you, right? So much of who we are is about who you surround yourself with, and what we're talking about collectively. What have we all bought into? And I think that so many of us are doing things and we're solo. So when things get rough, or when the world is telling us 26, what'd you say, 26 weeks, 25 point,
You don't know who to call. And here's the thing, when it comes to that, and I still learn to this day, I've always dreamed big. I was told at, oh gosh, how old was I when the first prophet outside of my mother reached out to me? I think I was 16 or 17. And they literally told me, when you graduate, I think it was 17, when you graduate, you have to keep going. Don't look back. You're different from your friends. And I kept saying, but these are my friends. And so for the most part, I've had the same friends throughout the years. Of course, some fell off. But as I look back, we all had different journeys. Does it make me better than them? No. But my journey has always been different as far as entrepreneurship, because both of my parents were entrepreneurs. You know, my dad was a street entrepreneur, but then, but then, yes, it's so. But then my mom, she had businesses as well, and then other family members. Like even as a little girl, I would go and collect money at the salon or at church when we came from a Baptist church. I would collect money, you know, for the popcorn or, you know, be able to hand out the programs. Like I've always had that serving, you know, process within myself. But as far as my friends, I will tell you, as we've been in this cohort and as this process changed, I have changed so many friends, business partners. I've recently changed some staff. And I know that was like one of your questions. Like I look back now and I'm like, man, the people that were a part of my team, that were in the trenches when I didn't have any money to do this, where are those people that understood the vision? But as the money came, we might as well touch it. As the money came from selling the house and different opportunities, and I'm sharing, like I'm trying to break these good multi six-figure contracts down. And normally most people be like, you crazy, like take your money and run. But I'm being true to my mission. And I'm saying, let me start hiring a staff. Everybody gets a guaranteed paycheck around here. I wrote it down. I had a whole vision. And I'll be honest, some of it collapsed because some people started seeing the money and they didn't see the full picture of what you saw in writing in class for our presentation. So what happens is, what happens when you get money, Michelle? Girl, more money, more problems. More money, more problems. And it is what it is. I didn't came outside. It's one of them porch talks at this point on the podcast. All things great. But I had to realize the more the money came, I kept hearing, and this is something, and I hope you guys are listening. I kept hearing something that hurt me to my core. And it was, what if you fail? What if you spend all of your money? What if you go broke? I've been broke before. So what if you end up broke? What if you get to a point where you can't succeed and everything has to go? Guess what? I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to come back swinging even harder. What people don't realize is when you're manifesting something and you see it and you've written the vision and you have it on a board and you know that God is going to do things for you, then you realize that in order for us to get to that next space, I need y'all to trust me. I need y'all to trust me. And when your bottom line team, when your army, you know, when the front line doesn't trust the vision and they're just looking at a paycheck, the current paycheck, then guess what? That paycheck disappears. Because now you got to go back and say, it's time. This one went AWOL. This one don't fit no more. This one is slacking. And everybody has to put in the work. And so that was the other thing. Just because we have the vision and we're manifesting it, who all is going to put in the work? You as the owner cannot be the only one putting in the major work for connections, for building, for looking for contracts, for bringing the customers in, for feeding, you know, feeding the masses. Instead, it has to be a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times that T word disappears.
Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit about, what I know is that at some point in the business journey, in a small business journey, and I don't even like to call it small businesses. Speaking of language, because now you got me thinking, it's a business. We have all gone through, I think, a period. Well, I won't say that. I'll say I did. I think I know a lot of people have gone through that dark hour where they're like, I think I messed up, right? What was that moment for you, and how did you pull yourself out of that space using manifestation or vision boards or however you did it?
I'll tell you, I'm going through the moment.
Mm.
So I literally, because of the team I chose in the beginning, let's start from the beginning. These were the people that sold time. And one thing I told myself is, regardless of the time that's being sown, when I get that finance that I need, guess what? The minimum you guys are going to get, even though we're looking for these contracts, is going to be 15 to 20 hours per week. So that's a guaranteed paycheck. I just need y'all to still have my back. Don't flake on me. I have one, I love her so dearly. She had a relative that passed. She was going through something personal. She kind of flaked out. She disappeared. But that was my right hand. So at that point, it's like, now I have to open up to somebody else and remember where everything is and our processes. And this is messing up our stride. And I was like, but let me understand what she's going through. So then I had another one as the money came. It was double billing. Let me bill you this way and bill you that way. So I'm like, no. I remember crying. So I was like, this is like my sister. I made a check for us off of a house that was paid for. Nice house, 2-story house. I miss my house. That was paid for. I wouldn't deal with all this in the background right now. I wouldn't deal with the Tyler running around. We had a good setting for a temporary space. Like everything was temporary. And the moment that person told me, you took that risk, not me. This is your baby. This is what you stepped out on faith for. So that woke me up. Now, taking these cohorts, this one, WeBank, I just almost done with NASDAQ. You learn a lot of different things from different classes. And so what I learned was you train up, you train out. Now, even though I wasn't fully available, because I can take my flaw, I wasn't fully available, but I provided more than enough resource to get by and for us to continue to grow and for us to be able to manifest thousands. But some never did the work, and I didn't find that out until I cut ties. And so I literally had to, a couple things. I'm gonna be transparent on here today. One thing is I was giving and sowing into the wrong person. Meaning it was a person that I was told by my higher power to stop sowing into, and I was disobedient and I kept doing it. And so I didn't realize that my money was going low until it was going low. And I look at my account and I'm like, whoa, where's the money at? Like, what's happening? And so, what it was, the contracts weren't coming in. So I'm like, if I'm paying this capture manager to do this, I paid this marketing company to do that. I've hired somebody to market that lied on their resume, but I'm trying to teach them what to do and they act like they don't understand. Okay, let's start cutting these people that we don't need. But keep in mind, some of the people you cut, you can't get your money back from. So now you have to go back and double back and do the work. And so I started double back and doing the work because here it is, I'm not going to fail. I'm going to get these contracts. So if I got to stay up all day, all night, I got to send the emails, I got to go to these events. I began to travel globally to different events for government contracting to meet other individuals to just kind of get in their face. And so after that, I remember I did a vision board event in December, and a preacher told me, she said, you're going to go through a hard time. And during this time, you're going to have to fire 2 people. And I'm looking at my staff like, because I don't have a large team at the time, like who? And I kind of had an idea, because sometimes we look at the red flags and we don't recognize the red flags, even though we address them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to others, you're the red flag and they're not. Mm-hmm. And so I kept the red flag process for probably 4 or 5 months. Oof. So as you realize, time is money. Mm-hmm. You can't get that time back. You can't get those months back, no matter how much you soak. And I went into a depression, and I began to soak, and I began to kick myself like, where's my money going? I don't know. No, y'all, I can't go out to eat. I can't go hang out. Like, I got to figure this thing out. And it was times I didn't sleep. I'm going to events locally, like every day, on top of doing the work, on top of talking to the clients. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why in the hell am I doing all this by myself? Wait a minute. Mm-hmm. Even though I had some that were doing their part, but those other parts that people could fill in the blank for, they weren't doing. And that's outside of my job description. Well, guess what? If there's no work available for you right now, then you have no job temporarily. Right. And that was my wake-up call. Mm-hmm. When I realized you'll get it out the mud for other people, meaning you're going to go out there, you're going to drop flyers on the front door, you're going to knock on doors, you're going to make phone calls, you're going to communicate where necessary so that, you know, they can get whatever they need. Like you're going to, you're going to ride. But who gets in that passenger seat for you and understand it's not going to happen in 30 days, but if you trust this process, it's going to make a difference. And I kept saying, this isn't about me. It's not just me. Y'all just trees. It's not about me. I've had this vision spoken into my life, I think in 2015. Before I even told it to anybody, it was spoken in 2015. So I know what I'm doing. That billionaire mindset, it is what it is. But during that pivotal moment of people saying, I believe you, I trust in you, I know we can get this done, calling out what everybody else doing wrong but themselves. My wake-up call was when I looked at that bank account and I was like, I can't go to this conference because now I'm looking at my bills. Or what do I have to cut back costs? We got to come back out of the office for a minute because nobody's in the office right now but me. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden people need to work from home because they got stuff going on. And they feel like they're doing you a favor. Mm-hmm. They feel like they're doing you a favor because they're on your payroll doing their job. But it's not a favor. You're still getting paid. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You don't go to Aetna, CVS, Walgreens, Publix. You don't go to all these places and work and get your paycheck and say, well, I did y'all a favor. I came in today. I did y'all a favor. Yeah. So it was a broken moment. I've kicked myself and I've said, from now on, when I see red flags, I can no longer seclude myself and just vent. It goes back to those circles. I can't vent to the wrong people. I have to be prepared to have a conversation with somebody of knowledge, whether it is a coach, whether it is a fellow business owner that has scaled higher than you've scaled, whether it is sitting down and just looking at the pros and the cons. Is this person really worth being a part of my organization or not? When I went back and looked at, and I'm not going to call them mistakes because I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I'd rather it happen in the beginning than happen later on down the line when I have the multi-million-dollar clients. I can't have somebody not show up for work because they overslept. I can't have somebody, with a sick child and they feel like because they know me, I can work from home today. I can't have somebody because we cool, you want to sit there with the earpiece in your ear on these Fortune 500 people's property. it's things that happened that I felt like happened for a reason.
Yeah.
And because I'm a giver, I didn't look at I can be the one to take the loss. Instead, I looked at my business is still up and running. I'm still working the contacts and the contracts until one of my main contracts paused us. Even though we go through a lot with this one client, I looked at it and I was like, I see some things that could have been done better. But in this course that we just took, we should have been able to be absent with the people that we put in responsible spaces.
Yeah.
And we should have been able to breathe and continue to collect and grow while we maneuver in order to get to the next level. And when I realized it's graduation time and I've dropped some of those pieces, I had my moment. When I arrived at that hotel and I saw you in passing in the elevator on Sunday, this weekend, and I was in a space because where I was, are you telling me it's graduation week and everybody I thought was supposed to be here is not here? So when you saw me kind of zoned out, even at the bar, and we drinking and having a good time and just, chopping it up and having good conversation, and I'm maneuvering, as you've seen, I kept coming in and out of the class. I'm working still pieces for myself. And I'm saying to myself, there's no way that we are on the brink and the verge of a major contract with the CDC right now. And I've had to take a step back, come out of the office, but I have a bigger vision for that. It's a whole nother day.
Yeah.
But I've had to remove some people from the table in order to do this process. And now I'm in this space where I'm sitting back saying, God, who am I going to put at these seats? Because one thing about manifestation is when you speak things into existence and you put them on that board, and even I'm gonna say this, and you revisit that board, because I have to go revisit my board.
Yeah.
Even my business plan, I got to go revisit and change some names. It's not about the friendships. It's not about the family. It's about the vision that you had that you can accomplish. And the fact that you've had to take 10 steps back silently. You had to look at your bank account and say, I know this is not what my account looks like. You telling me we didn't walk by Louis Vuitton and
oh yeah. Yeah.
Looking. Oh, we didn't walk past all these, and I'm a Louis girl. Like, I love handbags, and you telling me I'm in New York and I can't grab a handbag because I got to make sure that the rent is paid, and I got to make sure that the children got what they need, and I got to take a step back on some personal things to stay stable.
Yeah,
it's not a good space to be in.
Yeah.
Now, I am the type of person that I pray heavy for others. But at times I don't pray for myself.
That's right.
So lately, I have been praying fully for myself. I've been taking time to myself. And I've been trying to figure out what's scaring the money away. And that's a part of manifestation too.
Great question. What is scaring the money away? I love that question. So did you draw any conclusions about what's scaring the money away?
I did. You could y'all gonna learn I'm very transparent. It could be the person that you're laying with. I was great.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too. I have a very strong prophetic gift. I remember when you walked by and I was talking to one of the ladies, and you walked by and you was like, I want a word too. You didn't know what was going on. But my gift is strong. And so I knew something ain't right. But I'm gonna keep going. I'm in Florida. I'm gonna spend this money. They'll do what y'all gonna do. Something ain't right. I went through a couple relationships, and I'm like, still ain't right. But then I had to start looking at things in my staff. Who knew my business, whether it was business or personal? Who knew my finances? You know, when the wrong person knows how much money you're spending, that's a problem. Because they can speak death on your finance. I just told you that you're going to end up broke. You're going to go through the same thing I went through. I spent all my money. I tried my own business and it didn't work. And how? When I create multimillionaires. So even if I go broke, I won't be broken and I won't be broke for long. Yeah. Because that is the gift that I have. So you telling me that I can build all these millionaires and multimillionaires and I can't build myself? No. So that's when you go back and you look at who's around you, who's working for you, who has access to you, who you laying with. Because sometimes your mate can suck your energy and your manifestation. You know, I had one years ago where I noticed I would go broke every time he came around after we broke up.
Oh.
I kid you not. It's scary. It's weird, but it's real.
Yeah.
Energy vampires. And then those monitoring spirits, those individuals that are around you, watching everything that you have going on. Mm-hmm. And they're not realizing that you see them, but because of your heart.
Okay. So I had a friend and he was my trainer, but he, you know, you're with somebody 3 days a week for an hour, they become your friend, right? And so he was helping me do some stuff, and he's like, I can help you with marketing and all these other promises. Now, he and his brother worked together. He sold up here, but his brother was the deliverer, and his brother delivered down here. Okay. So he's talking it up and selling a big thing, but I'm like working with and 7 months for a website that I ended up doing by redoing my whole entire website, and I did it in 2 weeks. So, but I just remember that, but he's my friend. Nah. So when I know it shouldn't take more than 3 weeks or so to do a website, for a month, maybe, right? We're in the second month, the third month. Oh, holidays. I'm justifying for you. Oh, holidays. Oh, you know, whatever. Oh, I get it. No, we're cool because you're my friend. And one of the things that you talk about, and I've heard you talk about, is who are you trusting? And you said I'm looking at them as friends, and I'm like, oh no, we got to pull that apart very quick. If you are in business with a friend, you remember the dude who was sitting next to us at the bar that one time, and he was telling the story of how he was sitting next to me, right?
I just got off the phone with him, Colin.
We gotta talk about that later. Anyway, so
it's nothing.
He's talking. So we, saying like this was my friend. If she had just said sorry, I could have let it go. But the fact that I didn't get the sorry, so we wrapped
the principle of the matter. So what normally happens, and it's hot out here. What normally happens is, case an example with me. I hired a friend, I hired family, and then I hired people I didn't know. Mm-hmm. The ones closest to you, when they're making mistakes, they don't see those mistakes. Mm-hmm. You become topic of discussion, family discussion or friendship discussion. They don't see the mistakes that they've made, and so when you bring the mistakes, it's like, you did this and you did that. You could have did this better. And I think at some point, that's what makes it hard for people to help others come up. And just take it there. It's because when you get a dose of like some of the things that I've gotten a dose with silently, that I've taken silent hits with, and you go back and you can watch social media where people are putting out those jabs because they're the victim, instead of you being the victim. And they're not realizing that, again, time is money. When you are chasing a dream, and you're not working a 9 to 5, and you put your all into this business, even if you are, your money is for a good cause for you to pivot forward. Yeah. So when somebody doesn't do the work or they don't do it, I got a website redone. because I couldn't reach my old designer, and she had a death in the family, and we kind of cut ties the wrong way. But I still was like, I need her to fix X, Y, Z. Like, and so communication was dead. So I had to get the website completely redone. And to this day, she's probably sitting back like, I know she didn't, but nobody could use the system. I couldn't get in touch with you. So I had to pay a couple $1,000 out for somebody to tell me what they want me to have on the website instead of what I asked for. A whole nother. For me, that's how I end up pulling Colony in and saying, I need you to look at this site. This is what's wrong. This is what's missing. And keep in mind, the money's down the drain now. And people don't see that. They only see, a lot of times, the stamp of approval. I did. Don't forget to tag me. I got a lot of bad deliverables. My videos, I posted on LinkedIn. They look good, but nobody can tell the things I know that's wrong.
Right.
Or the fact that I had to wait months for them to be delivered. Or the fact that I was missing certain things or certain edits, or I would ask questions and that's another topic, the small business where, individuals feel like I did it, you got it.
Right.
I did what you want, I'm done.
Right.
But it's not the best work. So I think the hurtful part, let's talk about giving each other grace.
Yeah.
You try to give people that grace and that understanding, but when it comes at a cost to you, people don't understand that. Think about the fact that you waited for a month for your website, and certain processes or programs or certifications, you have to have a site up.
Yeah.
I remember I kept saying, I need this site. Like, this one marketing person won't move. I paid this like thousands of dollars. Good money. She's sitting on my money because the website won't show mobile.
Wow.
And in my mind, I'm like, I don't give up. Lady, make it work. Giving the grace. And I kept giving the grace. And I kept giving the grace. And it went stale when the work finally began to work and she started doing what she was doing. And it was too late to get a refund because at this time you're looking at the work like, what is this?
Right.
This is not the marketing that I've asked for. So we have to be mindful of who we give the grace to. Sometimes.
So we've talked a lot for the last 10, 15 minutes. We've been talking about the challenges, right? Business ownership, relying on people who don't see your vision, who short your work and, do all of these other things. But I want to spend the next 10 or 15 minutes, 10 minutes-ish to talk about, okay, so now what? Because at the end of the day, there will always be people who are there to take. There will always be people, right? And we have to learn. We have to start, these people are gifts. I tell you what, I will never, ever, ever again sign a contract because I went and looked at the contract. All the contract said was, we'll give you a website. There was no date on it. There was no time like, we'll have it done by December 1st or whatever it was. Good on you. I learned that much, right? And I do things in business with friends. One, that I know very well, and two, and even that's kind of suspect sometimes because money change, it's different, but money that I can afford to lose. So I will say, I will pay you $500. And I don't even think about it that way because I'm not trying to lose money. I just am very, very, very cautious about what I do moving forward. And I'd rather it be an $8,000 lesson than an $80,000 or $800,000 or $8 million lesson, because that's where I'm going. And I don't want to learn those lessons at that level. So I want to, so we have this world that comes with the thing that you're talking about and the things that you bring that a lot of businesses and business owners do not have is this unwavering focus and a long history that says, told you I can do it. See, I got the evidence right there. So what does
I have a very long history of it. In business, from certifications from my Lean Six Sigma to getting into the Goldman Sachs program. I remember when I had clients that told me they were declined, and at this point, they were multimillionaires based off of the work that we provided to them. But I remember at one point, one of the clients was like, "Girl, we was denied," and so I am one of those. I come through on supernatural, stupid, crazy, down faith, meaning I know it's going to happen. Um, Even recently, like I said, coming out of the office, I sat back and I did it the day before I got on the plane. And I woke up that morning and I sent an email to the rent office and I was like, I'm not renewing. Don't worry about it. Stuff will be out by XYZ date. And I moved the bulk and had family move the difference. But it was because of the next vision that I kept dreaming about last week and months ago. And I just felt something say, just move. People gonna think you crazy, and it is what it is, just move. But I've proved, just like the house was paid for in cash. I can't say how I did it legitimately, but it was done. And everybody thought I was crazy until that 240 something thousand dollars worth of cash was transferred to purchase the home. And it was like, where did you get that from? I was like, I told y'all.
Yeah.
You know, and keep in mind a baby in a NICU and I'm buying a house at the same time. So God gave me double for my trouble. So a couple things that I've learned, that I live by. You're always going to go through trials and tribulations, regardless of what you're doing. You're going to have your moments, just like how this podcast started and we got noise every which way. And that was not the idea of doing it. So I know, hopefully, there's a message in here for somebody that truly is needed. Normally, that's what happens in my field, is when a message is coming through with power, I'm going to have every distraction there is possible. The next thing is when you get those distractions, you have to learn how to maneuver around them and adjust yourself to block them out. Yeah, I ran for the toddler, but I decided to come outside because it was the quickest move to make. But then you hear the people that are building behind the townhouses next door. But because I've learned the mastery of trying my best to ignore the distractions, I hear it, but it doesn't stop the movement that we're doing at this moment on the podcast.
That's right.
So it's knowing how to maneuver when necessary and try to quiet the noise so that you can keep going. The other thing is, how am I going to get this done? I literally said by this summer, I'm going to have $500,000 within the organization because I did structuring organizational. And like I said, I pulled back. When people don't do their part, you have those that say, you didn't make XYZ yet. Are you sure? Are you doing the thing that you're really supposed to be doing? Or are you tripping? They're second guessing everything that you're supposed to be doing. So it goes in one ear and it comes out the other because I look at everything that went incorrect, everything that was flawed. And right now I'm crossing T's, dotting I's. Oh, website wasn't done right. SEO wasn't right. Let me go ahead and get some research on the SEOs. Marketing wasn't done right. How are you doing your marketing? Let me get some information on marketing. Wait a minute. A new script for LinkedIn marketing. Let's get that. Or better yet, I'm not asking nobody in this class what services they need. I'm going to the big dogs. Let me go talk to Goldman Sachs and see what they need. So it's making sure that you put whatever goals that you have in front of you right there in front of you. While others are looking to make a couple $100, in my mind, I'm looking for a couple $100,000, $50,000, $100,000, $500,000 on a contract. And so moving forward, it's coming with strategy, of course, as we rest, because we had a very long week last week. But it's moving with strategy and taking in all the knowledge from even perfect strangers that have become brothers and sisters and friends, and elevating in it, seeing whose services that we can actually use and seeing who can actually utilize our services and just creating what is needed for others to grow. With me, I'm different. I get fulfillment when others are growing and glowing and manifesting what they want.
Yes.
I could be dead broke, God forbid. But if somebody gets a big contract, I'm like, girl, congratulations. Now, after all the smoke to it,
you do.
How did you send that email? Tell me how you sent that email again. And I tell people relationship building. I'm to the point now, even with my CDC contract, I've gotten so close with some of the directors where I'm like, we got this next bid coming up. It's major. I need you said you know XYZ, let them know how good we are because we're still a small business. So they don't go and look for the Deloittes and the Bains and the Booz Allens so that they can actually get us in there and get this work done.
That's right.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking charge. I'm taking my time back. I'm respecting my time.
Yeah.
I'm setting those boundaries to remove individuals that shouldn't be around me. And I'm removing that access from those that are pretty much sucking me dry, whether they do it on purpose or not.
Yeah.
And who's to say it might be the opposite way? Either way it goes, the line is cut, it's drawn in the sand. The access is totally different. If you don't have an appointment, I'm not responding.
That's right.
Because at this point, in order for you to go forward when you are going through something, you got to breathe. Mm-hmm. You got to recognize where you went wrong. You got to accept it. You got to forgive yourself for the things that you've done. The fact that you didn't move when you just knew. I said today, I knew I should have moved months ago and fired XYZ or done XYZ or removed that person from the marketing space. But here's the thing, you can't go back on shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's Instead, right. Everything is being drawn out again this week so that I can move forward. Mm-hmm. And I pretty much just about promise you by July, we'll have a multi-six-figure contract, if not two.
I'm going to have you back in August. I'll give you a month buffer, and I'm going to have you back. We're going to talk about it because I believe you. I believe you. I know that to be a truth. I feel it to be a truth. And I just wanted to, for folks who are just listening and they've heard some of the challenges of being a business owner, let me tell you about the liberation. Let me tell you about the freedom to create and make your own destiny. What to have your everything around you, something that you designed with your own hands and your own intellectual brilliance and all of those things. And so all of that far outweighs any of these challenges, because one thing we will never have happen to us, we will never be fired from somebody. We may have a contract discontinued, right? But we're not going to be fired, and we don't have to be around folks that we don't want to be around. There's a lot of beautiful things to it. So I'm going to close with one final question. I ask this question to all of my guests. Latrice, on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 is this was not supposed to be my life. This is too hard. I'm ready to check out and start over. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm done. 10 is, God, this is my life. Wait, this is my life? Why? I cannot imagine a more. So right on a scale from 1 to 10, where would you give yourself the fullness? Not just, oh, my business is this and my kids are, no, your full life. And if it's not a 10, what would you do? What do you know what it is that would get it to a 10?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say it's a 10.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
I know we gotta go. Because everything happens for a reason. Uh-huh. And in order for us to move forward in life, we have to go through things and we have to learn. And if you don't learn, you won't be able to excel. So where I'm at now, even in this space that I'm just like, how did I get here? I said I would never come to this space again. I would never be in another apartment. I would never have another child. Just being real. When he moved me here to get closer to her father so that her father would be in her life. And then I had to use, again, grace and mercy. But then even the words that have been spoken as I travel in the area that I'm here in Atlanta, is in Vinings, very nice area, where the multi-million-dollar houses are. And I didn't realize Steve Harvey, he has a property not too far from me. Mm-hmm. And so you can't help but to ride around that area on a regular to assist you mentally to dream big so that you can go to the next level. Mm-hmm. So I feel like everything happens for a reason. I see the bigger picture, but I'm still on the verge of getting there. Yeah. Now I won't lie. Last week, I was at a 1.
Yeah.
And I was saying, how did this happen?
Yeah.
But then as we finished that course, that cohort,
Yep.
and I met all of you in person, it was totally different. It allowed me to realize one thing, and this is something that they said during our meeting. You were chosen. You were chosen. And I'm getting chills, and I know we got to get off here, but you were chosen to be here. And those words I stuck in my head. And even as I address tests daily, I know I'm chosen for a time as now. And everything that I said I will manifest, and I'm going to say even by the end of this year, will be done. Just like it will for you. So I thank you so much for having me.
My dogs were barking. Thank you so much. I'm going to talk to you in August, but I'll also be talking to you before then. So you take care and be well. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please click the small bell and become a subscriber and join me in spreading the message of grace.